Hey guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Lowdown. I'm Wellington. Gonna bring you guys a really big review video. I didn't even do the Lowdown Looks video for last week. I did get my haul, but I didn't even do a haul video because I've been pretty behind because I still haven't done my review video for now 2 weeks books ago, 2 weeks of books ago, or last week's books. So I'm gonna do them all right now. It's gonna be a long one, guys, and to be honest, I'm not even gonna put the timestamps down below because it's just gonna be a lot of books. I'm gonna try to do the reviews really quickly because there's so many, and I don't want to. If the video is shorter than I'm thinking it's gonna be, I'll do timestamps. But if not, then there's not gonna be any. Because this is 2 weeks of books right here I'm going to be reviewing, and it's just going to be a lot. So, and there's not even going to be an order in here. No picks of the weeks, anything like that. No from least like to pick of the week type deal, because I can't even remember which books came out which week. Because there's a lot here. I think there's like 11 books. So anyways, let's just get started with the book that I just finished reading now. That's freshest in my mind, and that's Nova issue 19 with probably one of the coolest covers that's come out from Nova. And this is, as you can see, one of the original Sin issues. At the start of this book, Sam and his family are moving into an apartment. They had to move out of their house because they can't afford it. Moving into an apartment, and Sam pretty much explains how he is becoming more distant from telling his mom everything that happens with his being Nova because of the Watcher's death, which is upsetting him, and also for the fact that when the Watcher's eye exploded in Original Sin and everybody's secrets were kind of put out, Sam had a vision of his dad, Jesse, as a Nova, killing another Nova, and liking it, being just an evil guy. So that kind of explains the cover. And throughout this issue, it's him teaming up with Rocket Raccoon to kind of get some answers from for all that kind of stuff. So pretty good issue of Nova. I really like the Nova book, and I love that it's doing so well in my mind, writing wise and art wise. So that's Nova number 19. Next book, Miss Marvel issue number 6. Different artist on this book from the usual artist. Kind of takes away that feel of the book a little bit that it had before, just because she's a lot different looking. Kamala is, or Kamala, but still same writer and same feeling behind the story. This is Kamala kind of dealing with the inventor and her kind of patrolling the streets, taking out his security bots, and eventually kind of coming face to face with him in hologram form and in a sewer, and she's got to fight off these alligators and stuff. And just so happens Wolverine is on the same kind of mission. It's looking like one of the mutants from the school had kind of ran away from the school and is now possibly in a cult with the inventor. So we do get a Miss Marvel Wolverine team up in here, which is pretty cool. I know Wolverine's going to be in books now because of the 1 month till die or whatever, since Wolverine's going to die soon, I guess. So I'm not surprised to see Wolverine in this book, but at least it was done in good spirits with, still kind of using Miss Marvel as the main character, and Wolverine is kind of just there as, you know, support. But anyways, really like Miss Marvel issue number 6. I love this book. Honestly, it's one of my favorite books. So that's that. Next book is Thunderbolts issue number 28, and this is Punisher versus the Thunderbolts part 2. Last issue, Punisher quit the Thunderbolts after kind of, we'll just say they had it out, him and Red Hulk, and so Punisher quit, and as a result, Red Hulk tried to have Punisher killed by blowing up one of his safe houses while he was in it. And for the rest of this issue, Red Hulk gives everybody else in the team kind of a false idea that they can leave whenever they want, and he tells them all to think about it. If they want to leave, then think about it now, because if they start the mission, they're in it and there's no turning back. So throughout this issue, we get Ghost Rider contemplating leaving, Leader and Elektra and Deadpool. Deadpool ends up leaving. I don't think anything's going to come up with that, because it seems like they didn't like Deadpool in the first place. But then when Punisher is discovered to have been killed and Elektra discovers that, she goes crazy, tries to kill Red Hulk, and a big fight ensues. Turns out Punisher's not dead, and some even crazier stuff happens. So really, Thunderbolts issue number 28, pretty good book under these new writers. I think it's Ben Acker and Ben Blacker. Those can't be their real names. That's way too similar. But anyways, pretty good story happening, and there was another big thing that happened that I won't spoil, but it was pretty cool. These next 3 books I'm going to review together because they are Original Sin issue number 4, 5, and 6. So I'll just review all 3 of these in one. So what had happened after issue 3 was we see Bucky cut off Nick Fury's head. And so going into issue 4, we have a headless Nick Fury, a killed Nick Fury with a Bucky with Nick Fury's head and one of the Watcher's eyes. And then we have Hulk and Wolverine kind of investigating, and then it was Punisher and Doctor Strange kind of see Wolverine and Hulk at the body of Nick Fury. Things get a little misconstrued, and they fight. Wolverine and Hulk get whooped. So they're out of the picture, and then Moon Knight and Gamora show up, and Emma Frost and Black Panther show up, and then there's this whole big thing about what they're gonna do with getting the orb. Like, they have the orb there, and he's spouting off this crazy stuff about the eye choosing him and talking to him and letting him know and all this and that, and they all kind of come to the conclusion that they're not here by coincidence, that there's a reason they're here, and they're all kind of working under the same unknown source. And as the issue progresses, and at the end of it, we find out that the Nick Fury that had been killed was not the real Nick Fury. And the real Nick Fury presents himself, and he's a very old man, a very old Nick Fury, and those other Nick Furies were all just LMDs, the life model decoys. And so going into issue 5, we hear this long story about how Nick Fury has actually been acting as an agent, killing threats before they even come to the world, and with these gamma bullets, the same gamma bullets that were found in the trail of dead bodies, and also with the Watcher, and in Ego, the Living Planet, all same gamma bullets. So it's only to be assumed that Nick Fury is the cause of having killed all this like trail of death. And it's all been Nick Fury kind of stopping threats before they even hit Earth, and then the threats that do hit Earth are handled by the superheroes themselves. So, they're all pretty shocked about what Nick Fury's been doing this whole time. He's been doing it for years. And now he's kind of dying, and he needs somebody to take his place as the next person to do so. And only one of them amongst, Winter Soldier, Gamora, Moon Knight, Emma Frost, Black Panther, Punisher, and Doctor Strange. And Ant-Man. One of them is going to take, or one of them Nick Fury would like to take his place as this person that has to stop these threats before they hit Earth. And that kind of gives like a moral dilemma amongst the heroes themselves. While at the same time, the Avengers catch wind of this fake Nick Fury, and Captain America's had enough. He's like, I'm tired of all these lies from Nick Fury. We're going to get to the bottom of it. Calls the Avengers to assemble, and we leave off with the Avengers busting into kind of Nick Fury's compound. So that's pretty much up to speed with where Original Sin is at. There's 2 more issues. It's going to end next month, so both issues are coming out next month. And I'm really excited. It seems to me that Nick Fury is the one who killed the Watcher, which is crazy. And I can't wait to see how it closes out. It's been a fantastic book. Next book I have here, always one of my favorites, Daredevil, issue number 5. In this issue, we have Daredevil. We have the funeral for Foggy Nelson, actually. So Foggy Nelson has his funeral, his fake funeral. Matt gives a eulogy and everything, and then Foggy is definitely very much against it. He knows that it kind of has to happen, but he hates that he's being killed off, and that it's in such a non-ceremonious way that, he kind of just falls off the map, and everybody thinks he, got killed by the cancer, and he's feeling really low about himself. And while at the same time, a threat comes to, I forgot who the bad guy was. It was Batroc the Leaper, something like that. Yeah, I think it was him. Let me just make sure. It was while, kind of Matt and Foggy are kind of dealing with kind of the aftermath of Foggy's funeral. A new and improved Leapfrog. So a really zealous villain, new and improved by being that he's in a huge metal suit that helps him like leap pretty far, and he kind of attacks Matt and Foggy, really attacking Foggy more than anything, and then one thing leads to another, and Foggy ends up being the hero, while at the same time in everybody else's eyes, because Foggy's found out to be, he's being seen with this threat by many witnesses, so they see that he's actually alive, but again, one thing leads to another. He's the hero, but then as a result, people think that he dies, but he actually survives, and he kind of gets what he wants. This issue is really, I really like this issue because it's a big, friendship issue. Kind of Matt and Foggy dealing with their friendship for the most part, and kind of them having a small falling out with each other, disagreement, not really a falling out, but more of a disagreement, and how they kind of overcome it. And the way it's written, Mark Waid is a genius, and Chris Samney and Javier Rodriguez put it together in picture format perfectly. So Daredevil issue number 5 is a beautiful issue. I love it. The next book I have, and my mouth is getting dry. Next book I have is Superior Foes of Spider-Man issue 13. We have a lot of moving parts in this book all the time. So Fred and the rest of the now Sinister 16 or something, or 11, they kind of get the painting of Doctor Doom. They get out of Dodge, away from the chameleon and stuff, and out of the hairs of the owl. Him, Beetle, Overdrive, and Speed Demon all kind of get together, while at the same time Shocker escapes Hammerhead's kind of wrath with the Silvio Silvermane head in tow, and he kind of escapes them as they're trying to kill Shocker. This book, it has so many moving parts to it that it's hard to kind of review right off the bat, but the book is so good and so enjoyable, so funny as well, and the art in it is fantastic by Steve Lieber, that if you're not on the book already, definitely get some of the trades and hop on the issues if you like. But again, it's too much to explain, especially after I read it a little bit ago. Not today, not yesterday. I read it a couple of days ago, so my mind isn't too jogged on it. But it always makes for a great reading experience, and it's definitely another one of my favorites from Marvel right now. One of the best books there too. So that was Superior Foes of Spider-Man issue 13, right? Yep. Next book, and now we're getting to the books that I read a long time ago. Next book here is Amazing Spider-Man Learning to Crawl issue number 1.3. This issue we have Clash, aka Clayton Cole, gonna try to get back at Spider-Man and make a name for himself. And let me see. While at the same time, Aunt May kind of falsely thinks that Peter is a drug dealer, and that's why he's got all this money and is always out and acting up of recently. But really, he's Spider-Man. She doesn't know that. At the same time, there's a science fair in which Peter enters, and also Clayton also ends up entering. And at the science fair, Aunt May shows up to support Peter. Clash is there. He comes in his costume and starts trying to make a big thing. Peter sees this, suits up as Spider-Man, big fight. Aunt May hates Spider-Man, blames him for causing the trouble, and just big problems in Peter's life, and just makes for a very traditional and classic Spider-Man story. So, short review on that one, but that's Learning to Crawl, Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 1.3. Dan Slott writing, and I think doing a pretty good job on this one. A lot of Spider-Man titles out right now, though. If we could just get it down to one Peter Parker Spider-Man title. That'd be great. But anyways, keeping on Spider-Man kick, I have the 100th anniversary variant issue of Spider-Man, and this is part 8 of 8, even though there is no such thing as 100 years of Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is like 50 years old, and there's not 1 through 7 of this book. This book literally starts at the end of the story. I'm guessing it's just a one-shot, and kind of a fun thing to see where Marvel thinks Spider-Man's gonna be at in another 50 years. So that's cool. In this issue, we start off, Eddie Brock had been killed by Kingpin. Peter Parker is definitely outed as Peter Parker as Spider-Man, at least to Kingpin, and Kingpin is in control of the Venom symbiote, or gains control of the Venom symbiote in this issue. Big fight between them, and that's kind of how I have to, kind of all there is in this. This was the first book I read, and it was a long time ago, so forgive me that I have to look through it. The art in this is pretty crazy. Really stylized art and stuff. Yeah, that's kind of how I have to explain this. In this, Spider-Man ends up winning and kind of rips the symbiote away from Kingpin, and at the end, he kind of gets back to work and starts sewing back his classic blue and red Spider-Man costume, which I guess had gotten torn apart. I don't know. This is really just a one-shot story. Very different kind of idea to give a one-shot story, which you say has happened, that has been going on for 7 issues, and this being the 8th issue, and kind of weird deal. But anyways, it was a good story. You don't have to buy it, and unless you find it for like $1, I wouldn't tell you to buy it. It's not something that I was like super crazy about, but it's not something that I hated either. I enjoyed it, but again, like, unless you find it for cheap, you don't have to get it. Next book here, got Deadpool issue 31. Still keeping with some of the lackluster storytelling and lackluster art in Deadpool that's happening right now. I mean, I love this cover. I wish the artist for this cover was working on the interiors. Not that the interior artist is a bad artist, I just don't like his style for this book, especially with me knowing how the characters have looked in the past. To this, or in this book, they kind of look, their faces are really warped and super exaggerated and stuff. Maybe for like an indie comedy, that would be cool. Like something like Todd, the ugliest kid on earth. His art would work good for that. But for this book, it doesn't really fit for me, in my eyes at least. And the story was all right when we're talking about Agent Preston finding Ellie, going to her house, and getting in a huge fight with some agents from, I forgot what, from Ultimatum agents. Big fight. Deadpool catches wind of Ellie being found and ditches Dazzler as they're killing all these vampires to go aid in the Ellie stuff. So hopefully the book gets better from here, since we're dealing with Deadpool now knowing about his daughter being found alive and well and also in danger. So hopefully the book picks up. It's not a book that I'm going to drop, but it's also a book that I haven't enjoyed for a couple issues now. So that's Deadpool 31. And finally, the last book I have here, the only real #1 issue, and that is Spider-Man 2099, issue #1. Got the baby variant for the $3.99 cover price tag, which is really cool. This book pretty much just introduces the reader who's unfamiliar with Miguel O'Hara to Miguel O'Hara and to his situation of him being stranded in 2014 when he's really from 2099, and him getting acclimated, getting an apartment, kind of being on the down low of, this whole being in a different time zone and stuff. And then him also dealing with Tiberius Stone, aka his grandfather. Either grandfather or great-grandfather. I can't remember now. And then a big threat comes in, kind of starts attacking the both of them, Stone and Miguel O'Hara. Stone kind of leaves him out to dry and escapes into a panic room. Don't worry though, because he's a Spider-Man. He suits up, kind of starts fighting this robot from 2099 sent to kill Miguel O'Hara for breaking the time, something in the time. But as the fight goes across the building and reaches Liz Allen's offices, the robot cop guy is like, hey, there's a trade-off here. What Liz Allen does is more harmful to time than what Miguel O'Hara is going to do. So they kind of get this plan. Miguel does this plan, beats the robot, and kind of flees. And Liz Allen pretty much at the end of this issue is like, there's going to be some way that she is going to get Spider-Man of 2099 to serve her as her superhero. And that's kind of how it ends. So anyways, a lot of books, guys, a lot of talking, so I'm going to keep this short. I'm Wellington signing off with the Comic Book Lowdown. See you guys next time.